I don't get kicked out again.
Oh, you can still do the roll. Go right back in. That's pretty stuff. Look at it.
What's happening, everybody? It's Tuesday night, and we are live with Manda and Lex DeMorte. I don't know what's going on with our graphic here, but I'm going to try to fix that. So,
how is everybody doing tonight? Good night. Welcome to the Deadstream.
Yes, welcome back. We are here. We are ready. And hello, Corey.
And Cameron, hello. How are you guys tonight? Shane, good evening. Super excited to have everybody back again. Very excited for tonight's show. We have lots to discuss. We got some goodies for you guys.
Absolutely. We actually did this week a little bit different. This week we watched the same movies, so that way we can talk about them and share our feelings and just do it a little differently. You know, have some fun with it. Hopefully some you've watched so you can talk about them with us, or they're new to you and you'll have some new movies to go scream and laugh at later.
Yes, I think you guys are going to be super excited about the list that we have for tonight, and I definitely think that you've seen a few of them. So I'm going to be super excited to hear what you have to say along with what Lex has to say. I can't wait. I do see Vicky and Debbie are also here. How you guys doing tonight? Hey.
Yay. I'm glad you guys can join us. So for this week, we chose some of the, B-list kind of movies, all from the 80s. So excited. That was kind of a prime time of horror, so it seemed appropriate. Hi, Mark. Me too, Debbie. I'm also just beat.
All right, I have to tell you guys, I'm going to let you in on a secret. I woke up today thinking it was Wednesday. Like, I don't know what happened in my dream. We already did the Deadstream. Everything was awesome. It was such a great show. And I woke up, and I'm like, oh, Wednesday, what a good day. It was a good night. And then I'm like, oh, no, it's only Tuesday. But that's okay, because now I get to do the whole Deadstream all over again, so I'm super stoked about that.
Absolutely. You'll have to bring in some of your dream stream over here.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited to talk about these 80s B horror movies. I mean, low budget, poor critical reception, cult status, I think, has to be, the talk about. It was really hard to pick, though, I have to say, before we start talking about our list. It was hard to narrow it down. There are literally a gazillion, no, not literally, but there are a gazillion 80s B horror movies to choose from. It was tough narrowing it down.
Absolutely. But I think we found some fun ones. We definitely found some weird ones. I remember while watching them, all I could think was, why? What is happening? What is going on?
I know you
But I think that's part of it. Oh yeah, for your Killer Clowns in Outer Space. That's one of your favorites. You've been wanting me to watch it. I finally had an excuse to watch it. Also, hi Shane, and I think I saw Teresa. Hello as well.
Good evening. Good evening. Join our discussion. It's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. So I think we might as well just dive right in with the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I know you're crawling to talk about it.
Oh, excellent. Do you want to go all the way there? That sounds good. I'm okay with that. What did you think? Oh, hey, Ian, how are you? We're talking about horror tonight, and specifically 80s B movies. And I think Lex said she wants to talk about Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is my personal favorite. What did you think, Lex?
Are you talk about it since I watched it? I have to say, those are definitely some clowns I would not want to run into. Not even just the fact that they've got their little guns. Just you take one look at them and they're just like the makeup effects were just done so well, especially for low budget during that time, and it was just like that thing probably will be in my nightmares. All of them.
I agree. That's one of the reasons why it is still my favorite. I've watched it a million times. The Chiodo brothers are the ones that created those clowns, and they actually worked on a ton of really cool stuff. Some of the other 80s horror movies that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But they even did things like all the Mousescapes with Dinner with Schmucks. I don't know if you saw that comedy. They did a stop animation in the Christmas movie, Elf, which is not horror, which is so neat. But they did almost all the effects themselves, which was so cool. Shane, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a couple people say they might be cool to hang out with, but that popcorn gun, I don't know. I don't know.
The popcorn definitely was very surprising for me. I was like, why are they just sprinkling it places? Like, what is going on here? And then I don't think I was ready for that. I just thought it was going to be like something like, especially when they put it in like the dumpster. I was like, what is that going to do?
Right? Like, okay, it's just some popcorn. These clowns are just being clowns and being silly. No, they're super mischievous. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh no. My Lex, are you still there? Darling.
Oh, I think she froze.
I'm so sad. I know she was so excited to talk about Killer Clowns. She had messaged me and she's like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. Can we add her back in?
I am back.
We'll get her right back.
Yay!
My Skype keeps kicking me out and I'm not really sure what's going on, so I'm so sorry if that happens again.
Well, you do fast, so don't worry.
I'll do my best to click it right back in. We were talking about the popcorn.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the popcorn, and Shane. I thought that was a great way to kill the clowns, was to pop the nose.
Absolutely.
It's made so much part of the the backstory, it was like the clowns were so in-depth, even though they were aliens and killer, and that spaceship, how cool was that horror house?
Yeah, that's my thing, though, is, like, you find a random just circus tent just sitting in the middle of the woods, and you're just gonna go inside of it, and I'm just...
They definitely broke some horror rules, that is for sure, but I think just about all the main characters in the movies that we're going to talk about broke some of the major rules. Why would you just go into the circus tent?
Yeah. So, Ian says she's stuck. Does that mean that I'm not moving? Am I still stuck?
Well, hopefully that was just back from when you had momentarily frozen. And, hey, Brian, how are you tonight? You are a little glitchy, though, Lex, sadly. I don't know what's going on. Are you still there? Is she getting kicked out again? I mean, I could probably host an entire show on just killer clowns for the next hour.
All right, so if she freezes out, just keep going.
Oh, no, absolutely. I am just teasing, I'm just teasing. So Killer Clowns, super great. Definitely cult status. They made dolls. There's been talk of a rumor of a sequel, but I don't think anything has come of it yet, which is so sad. I would definitely love to see the Chiodo brothers redo. Oh, hey, Lex.
I don't know what's happening. I'm going to keep coming back in. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to pull it up maybe so I can see everyone's comments on my phone instead of on my laptop. Maybe that's why I just got too much open.
Oh, that could be a problem. But yeah, I was just talking about potential. There was always a huge talk of a sequel for Killer Clowns, but I don't think anything's come of it yet. But I will personally keep holding out the hope for a sequel.
Was there not a second one? I remember when I was looking for it before, I remember seeing a Killer Clowns from Outer Space 2, but maybe that was just like a speculation thing, like you said.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to, and there was a lot of like fan calling for it and things like that. But I want to start talking about some of the other ones we watched today too. I'm going to go back into the earlier 80s. Killer Clowns is from kind of the later part of the 80s, 88. So I'm going to go back all the way back to 1980 and talk about Motel Hell. I don't know if anybody seen Motel Hell. I was kind of disappointed when I read it. They were like, it was going to be Tobe Hooper was going to produce it with Universal, but Universal thought it was too close to Texas Chainsaw. And I'm like, all right, so Tobe left. They have another director. United Artists picked it up. And, I watched the whole thing. I liked it. I didn't think it was too much like Texas Chainsaw. I mean, sure, they had some chainsaws in it. Sure, there was some cannibalism going on. But other than that, I do not think there was any other similarities to...
I feel like cannibalism just is such a common theme. Also, I wanted to say hi to Kelly. I'm going to make sure she doesn't slide away too far. But I have to say this was probably one of those movies that I felt was on like, from a scale of like weird to weirdest, this one was pretty up there.
It was definitely like an 8.5 on the weirdo meter. I would also agree with you. There was some strange themes and definitely some ghoul and gore in it. And I loved The Secret Garden. What did you think about The Secret Garden? It was kind of funny, right? It was kind of funny.
It seemed like it was just a wall that, like, you couldn't tell something was there, but as the time went on, you saw it was just a fence, like, with just some shrubs on it, like, so I thought that was weird. Like, I thought it was, like, a hidden thing until just, like, it actually wasn't, so that kind of threw me for a loop, but, yeah, I liked I liked that he fed them and took care.
He loved them. It was kind of weird because he almost loved them, And for all that haven't seen Motel Hell or Motel Hello, but not really hello at all, it's definitely Motel Hell. The Secret Garden were people planted and kind of like zombified for the meats that Uncle Vincent would smoke there.
See, Shane asked if we had seen Tourist Trap. That was not one that I had seen. Have you?
Oh, man, Shane, seriously, there was a gajillion 80s B horror movies on our list. No, I don't actually think I've seen Tourist Trap.
Corey also says that The Return of the Killer Clowns is an IMDb and it's in 3D.
Oh, the title? Well, maybe that means that there has been so much fan response and call that they really will push something through. That would be super exciting.
That would be super exciting.
So I want to talk, can I talk to you about the next movie, or unless anybody else wants to talk about Motel Hell, because it was really 8.5 on the Weirdo Meter.
It was. I do have to say, of all the movies that we watched, though, it did kind of like have more thorough of a storyline, because I felt like some of them were just like and all over the place, and I just not understanding. Also, Ian, the Secret Garden's actually a part of Motel Hell. It's like just like the secret little area that they had. If you haven't seen Motel Hell, you should definitely give yourself a laugh with that one.
You would like it, Ian. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. But not as funny as, honestly, what might be one of my new favorite B-horror movies, which was from 1983, and it was Microwave Massacre. I'm so excited about this. This is the one I'm excited to talk about. Seriously, tell me how good it was. I know you can't lie. It was so good.
How good it was. This one was the top weird one for me. I gotta admit, it was weird. What you think? Because I'm a little lost for words from that one right now. I'll ping pong from you.
All right. Okay. So I loved the Microwave Massacre. First, I want to say, I don't know if you realize that the star of the movie, Jackie Vernon, is also the voice of the old-time Frosty the Snowman from the 60s version of Frosty the Snowman. So that was really fun to see him in a horror movie, because I'm just imagining Frosty the Snowman, it's corncob pipe and his magic hat on, doing this horror movie, which was fantastic. So the main character's wife gets a new microwave, and we're talking about 83. Microwaves are not like the microwaves now. I know a few of you remember the first couple of microwaves. I know not you, Lex, but now you can see some of it. How funny was it? And his wife cooked horrible, awful meals. How horrible were they, Lex? They were terrible.
I don't know. I think he just was a plain and simple man, and that's why he wasn't interested in the food that she was cooking. The name sounded fancy, and the plates looked good. Although, I mean, she was definitely a little clumsy, so I could imagine she might have dumped a little too much of something in each of the dishes to make it taste bad. But I think, personally, he was just a grumpy man and just could never find his happiness kind of person.
I don't know. He seemed pretty happy towards the end. So he came home one night, and I don't know if anybody can we talk major spoilers here for Microwave Massacre? It might entice people to watch it though, so maybe it's a good thing. So I
don't think it's too much of a spoiler.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he kills his wife, everybody, and then he eats her.
In the description.
Oh my God! He put her in the freezer. How good was that? That was so great.
My favorite was he wakes up, he's like, did I do that?
Oh, what a great sleep. I'm feeling good. He was so happy. was fantastic.
Hi, Kelsey. No, I do have to say that it was kind of really funny to me how he just kind of woke up like it was no big deal, and just like I don't even, like, how drunk was he that he just like completely woke up like
forgetting that he murdered his wife? I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, I have done my fair share of things, and I don't know if I've ever been that drunk that I would not remember that upon waking. So, but you know, can you believe that entire movie was shot with only a $75,000 budget? I know you're shocked. I mean, it looked really good.
I agree, but I mean, it was mainly in like one set, so I feel like that probably like helped with the cost. But yeah, I mean, the quality of especially for like the time of it, the quality was pretty well done, and they didn't really have to rely on like the special effects and stuff like that, so it kind of makes it a little better too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh God, it was so good, guys. You need to see Microwave Massacre. If it is not on your horror B-list movies, it needs to be. Tell them, Lex.
I agree. I mean, it definitely progressed into like a little weird territory, but also like a horror movie doesn't. Like, that's the fun part of it.
I think that is the fun part, is pushing those boundaries and seeing what can fly. And I think that leads into really, kind of the fantasy aspect of the next one that we got to watch. Debbie, mom's watching. Hi, Mom. How are you? Love you. Glad you're watching too. But the next one, I know a lot of you guys have watched, so you'll all be able to talk about it. 1985, remember it? And it was the Ghoulies. Started a huge franchise, ending Ghoulies 4 in 1994. What'd you think of
I didn't
Ghoulies?
realize that there was 4 of them. I definitely did enjoy it. I thought it was, I don't know, I like the more demonic version of movies. Those are the movies that I tend to go for more because, demons are scary. Like, you can't shake those. You do one, like, and I also liked that, like, each of the ghoulies, like, they weren't, like, all, like, a cookie cutter. They all look the same, like, especially for it being more of a low-budget film. Like, they had all these different, like, shapes and personalities, and we talked about it before, like, with Mary Shaw and, like, with her tongue and how I hate that, and then the one with the and I just had to say, if this was one when I watched it when I was younger, it would have destroyed me because Mary Shaw destroyed me. So I just recently got over Mary Shaw. Let's just put it that way. So I know that if the Ghoulies was, during my younger time that I had watched it, it definitely would have terrified me. And I mean, cult movies are always just easy, and in the beginning with the baby, you're just like, what like that's how they start off, and you're like,
yeah, and it doesn't stop. It's amazing. I love how it starts like that. It's just action-packed the entire time. It's all about the special effects. I think it's what really makes it. If you can have a decent story and a great special effects team and some puppeteers and a little bit of imagination, honestly, I think that's the way to go. I mean, Ghoulies, like you said, like you loved how they have their own individual personalities. That's what made it to begin a franchise. That's what allowed them to keep going, not just with one B movie, but several of these, because even though it wasn't, huge response in the theater or a huge critics response, they were still getting views. People still wanted to see it.
when they dropped out of school to go build with the estate and stuff like that, and I was just like, dropping out of school is not the worst thing. Just I wish I had could just drop out and have a whole giant house just given to me kind of thing, not have to worry about the money.
Hilarious. I think Critters, though, I mean, Ghoulies was a good lead-in for our next one, which was Critters, which was the next year, which was, you'd think it would be similar, but it wasn't the same.
I was definitely expecting Critters to be like the Gremlins, but it definitely wasn't, which was a huge surprise to me. They've got the little creatures. Also, I think when we were originally talking about watching this movie, you said animals come into life. These things weren't stuffed animals. I guess because you think they resemble stuffed animals. None of mine look like that, or they'd be in the trash right now. So.
I was an 80s baby, so, early 80s baby, so there were some terrifying children's things, and...
Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Cindy, how are you? What I liked about Critters was Chiodo, the Chiodo brothers were in it as well, and they were part of the Critters. Don't know if anybody knew, but they modeled them out of the Tasmanian Devil, the cartoon, the Tasmanian Devil, which I thought was kind of fitting. Did anybody see Critters or Ghoulies? Want to hear what you all think too?
Yeah, or any of the movies that we talked about so far. Tell us about what you thought was the weirdest, what you thought actually planned out well. We want to hear from you too. Furby with teeth.
They were yeah. Furby on steroids with teeth, and the sounds that they made was hilarious.
I think we talked about Furbies last time with, didn't you tell us a story with your brother in the car, having him in the car? No, was that a movie I watched? Okay. There's a Furby story that I'm thinking of that I don't know why that I thought it was here, but those things were creepy, and you're right, that's any of these little furry creature movies, that's, if Furbies were still popular like they were back then, that we would have a recreation of Critters. My thing is every time we have movies like this where there's something falling from the sky, everybody's first response is, let's run towards it, and I'm just I'm gonna run away from it.
I don't know, it's such a hard call. What would you guys do if you saw a shooting star land in your backyard? Are you going to go investigate? Are you going to see what it is? It didn't work out pretty good for the last couple of movies that we were talking about. So, I don't know.
I don't know. Another thing I was thinking while we were watching this movie was they have their little poison darts, So I'm sitting here thinking, why don't you just use that every time? I know it wouldn't make for an interesting movie, but you, thinking about it, it's if you have a little poison dart, I would be, you're this close to me, that little boy was, I would have been doink, with my little darts the whole time. That would be my protection. I'd run out of darts probably, but, where were they coming out of, too? Were they coming out of their mouth? Were they, just in their fur?
Just the magic.
I'm really stuck on these poison darts.
You think they would have used them more? Corey, so Corey brings up a good point here, is you got to take the chance that the magic space thing is going to give you superpowers. And, I have to say that is a fair argument. It is a good chance. There's been all kinds of crazies that could come out of that.
I don't know. I think I've watched enough movies to shy away from thinking I'm going to get space powers. I would be too scared. I'd let somebody else go and tell me what it's like.
Check it out first. Send you in. I see. That's smart. That is smart.
Just a little sneaky. It's fine.
All right, so Corey, that's the deal. You're going to go first, check out the space, magic space thing, and then report back and let us know And if you get special superpowers, we are in. We're coming with you the next time for our superpowers.
Yeah, and if you see something bad, we'll run.
Sorry. Good luck,
Nice.
Corey.
Yeah.
It was really nice to know you. Yeah, especially if they were those critters and the ghoulies. No, ma'am. No, sir.
I
What do you guys-
also like how they had. Sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
The other aspect of aliens as well. The ones that were chasing them.
Yes.
I didn't like how the one guy kept changing characters. Like, I was like, you're not happy with the skin you're in, you gotta keep going to the next person that you see. But I was glad that I was worried he was gonna try to, like, transform into the kid. And I was like, what's the point? Like, you changed enough. But,
Critters was popular enough to spawn another franchise, and they actually, Dee Wallace, whom is our favorite, mom of aliens living near her house and having no clue about, she came back for a new one. I think it was like Critters Attack or something like that. They came out last year. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but we should watch it and maybe talk about it in a future episode.
Yeah, watch a bunch of, like, the movie remakes or seconds and stuff like that. That'd be fun.
Yes. What do you guys think? Did you think about Dee Wallace not realizing she's got E.T.? She didn't even realize E.T.'s living in her house. And I can kind of relate to that,
I was thinking, how old is E.T.? Is that before that movie? I mean, I guess it had to have been. I didn't think it was that old because when he picked up, like, the little E.T. toy, the first thing I wasn't even like, wow, this thing is, like, got feelings. I'm like, wow, why is there E.T. here? Like, I really thought it was from, like, came out when I was born. But
that, Miss Lex, is called an Easter egg, and they even did those all the way back then. Did you know that?
I didn't realize that they did them in, like, more movies than... I hear Easter egg and I think of Disney movies, not horror movies. Like, I guess maybe I should be paying more attention to other movies and see what else I can find.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Easter eggs, I didn't mention it when we talked about, but I am a sucker because of other franchises. I do always watch all of the credits. I'd like to know who really made the movie, what's going on, who's the special, thanks go to. But in Microwave Massacre, please, you all need to go see it. They actually had some really funny credits. I don't know if you paid attention to that, but we don't need to talk about it. Next time you watch it, remember to watch the credits. I know you're gonna watch it again. And yes, E.T. was 19.
I probably would watch it again.
Yes, you would.
So I guess it's not too far back then.
No, a few years. 4. So the next one I watched was also the same year as Critters, but was a little different since it wasn't the aliens coming down from the space thing, but Chopping Mall.
Chopping Mall was not what I expected at all.
Okay, because you didn't know that originally Chopping Mall wasn't even called Chopping Mall. It was called, I think, Killer Bots. But it did really bad. Like, it was really tanking. Have anybody seen Chopping Mall, or do you remember it being Killer Bots? Because apparently there's supposed to be still some posters out with Killer Bots on it. But they removed the title and were taking alternate guesses and, spitballing, and a janitor said, what about Chopping Mall? And they were like, go with it. It sounds good.
Yeah, I definitely expected it to be like a bad, like, slasher movie, and then I'm like, all of a sudden there's robots.
Robots.
Like, Killer Robot would make sense to me, but, like, I just was not expecting robots. And I do have to say that one girl, I can't remember her name, but the one who, she was like the new girl at the diner.
Oh, yeah.
She was like kick butt. She was awesome. I was pretty impressed by her.
I mean,
'Cause she seems so
women of
timid.
horror, watch out. She was awesome. Like you said, she totally kicked butt. That was really cool. Yeah, hey, Amy. Yeah, Chopping Mall, Debbie, so good. It was definitely worth the watch. I was noticing, I was like, this mall looks really familiar, and I couldn't figure it out, and it took me a little bit. I actually did look it up. You probably don't know this, but the mall was shot at the same mall that they shot Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But they had to actually shoot all of their scenes at night, couldn't damage anything, and everything had to be cleared up the next morning by the time the mall was opening. So that's how they were shooting this video, or this movie, after hours. So fun.
Hi, Amy. That sounds exhausting.
Doesn't it? Hey, Mark says he's got some friends here watching from around the world. So how are you doing, Mark's
That's
friends?
awesome.
Say hi.
Thanks for joining
Talk to
us.
you too.
And yeah, hi, Amy.
Amy, what is your favorite horror B movie? Did you see The Ghoulies or Critters? What about you, Mark? Did you see any of those? Killer Clowns from Outer Space? I know we talked about that a little bit. It seemed like a few of you had seen that one. It's been a pretty good list, I think, so far. Because we've done aliens, cannibalism, robots, and like our alien list is extensive too. Because we've got the Ghoulies, we've got the Critters, we've got the Clowns.
Weren't the Ghoulies, were they aliens or were they more demons?
I think they were demons. You're right. All right. Okay, should have been demons. Oh, Pumpkinhead. That was a good one, too, Amy. That was hilarious. She wasn't here for the beginning where we were talking about how many B movies there are. I'm pretty sure Pumpkinhead actually had a few sequels as well in it. Seriously, Lex, we could probably spend a month of all of our streams, and we still wouldn't get out of 80s horror B movies.
It'll be fun to revisit and, talk about a bunch of different ones as well.
Exactly. So yeah, Chopping Mall, hilarious. I totally loved it. I was a little worried. I didn't know if they were all what was gonna happen. Those bots were killer. They were killer bots.
They were so smart, and I forgot at one point that they had locked down the outside doors. And I was like, do none of these stores have, like, outdoor, like, exits? Like, is this just, like, an enclosed mall completely? I was so confused, and then I was like, wait a minute. They locked them down.
Locked down.
I was also thinking, like, it was weird that they had, like, the control center for them inside the mall if they weren't going to be turning them on yet. But also, what happened to the dead body of the first guy? When the second, like, camera guy came in, I was like, did they drag it away somewhere?
The magic of movies. That's where it went. Hey, Jacqueline, how are you?
Hi.
Yeah, it's so funny, right? That was definitely prime 80s horror B. I mean, it was really great. I mean, I loved everything about it. And it really was smack dab in the middle of the decade. And it really, I thought, embodied all of the things, that it needed. I don't know about cult status. Maybe underground cult status.
I've noticed a common theme in a lot of these movies, too, is, like, teenagers all going to a place to, like, do their hooking up, but, like, together kind of thing. Like, was that a real thing that was happening during that time? Like,
oh, yes.
Or is that just, like, a movies thing? Like, I thought it was so...
Oh, so yeah, well that is a conversation perhaps for a different stream, but yes, yeah, that actually did. People just hung out, and they would hang out and drink, and because we didn't have the internet or cell phones, you basically had to link up ahead of time and pre-plan it, and then you would tell each other's parents that you were staying at somebody else's house. I hope there's no underage people watching this right now, because then I'm telling you how to do it. And then you would go to the agreed upon place to misbehave and obviously become a victim in a horror film. So you can't break that rule. That's why we cut it off.
That's just what I was thinking about during a couple of these movies. That, because like, it's so weird. Like, how did they get a whole like store? I mean, the one kid. I'm just, we'll go past that. I'm just stuck on weird stuff like that, you know. People watching at the wall was a weekly. I still enjoy that. That's one of my favorite parts about going out in public. It's just like I'm one of those little quiet people who are just like acknowledging what everyone else is doing.
I'm just going to sit and observe. Yes, so good. But yeah, they just, they had a whole store. The one dude's uncle, he owned it. So that's how they had the in on it, you know what I mean? And the one girl's dad was, what was he, the mall owner or something? So they had some ins and outs, to kind of get around it. So that's how you did those things. You had to know somebody who knew somebody, or you had to wait for your parents to be out of town.
Yeah. I guess you're right. I don't know. I think it was a great movie. I wish they would have kept Killer Robots. I'm sad to hear that they just weren't, or Killer Bots.
Killbots. Yes. I think now Killbots would be a better title than Chopping Mall. It would definitely be more appropriate.
Yeah, because overall it was a good it was a great movie. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Just the name, just one of those things.
Exactly. There are some movies though that are like that, where the name isn't the exact thing that it probably should be. But the next one though that we watched a couple of years later, definitely the name was exactly what the movie was, and I think everyone is going to be able to talk about this. And Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Inspiration for all women in horror.
She's an absolute queen. I'd say this is probably like one of my favorites on the list. Why it don't happen until closer towards the end of the movie. I just loved her so much, and her like energy that she radiates, like she's just, I love too how like independent she is, and how she's like prepared to fight off anybody. She's just like, hold the phone. Like that's a role model worthy attitude in my opinion, and I just love her. And
she's so
one
confident.
of these days I'm gonna come up with her hair and her makeup. Be ready for it.
Oh, I will be ready. That'll be so exciting. I can't wait for that. And what do you guys think? Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Yay. There better not be any nays, but I will maybe avert my eyes and not look at the nays if you say that. But no, I mean, how amazing was she? She was confident. She looked good, but you didn't mess with her at all. She did not take any crap, pulled all the punches out. I did, I obviously have little trivia. I'm like the trivia nut here, but Brad Pitt auditioned for a part in Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. But Elvira, Miss Cassandra Peterson, she thought that he was too cute and that he wouldn't fit the particular role, but she named him Yum Yum.
I love that.
And I'm sure 1988 Brad Pitt was definitely Yum Yum. What do you guys think? I know all the guys out there are definitely agreeing with me about the Brad Pitt Yum Yum. Mark, Corey, Ian.
It's in everybody.
Debbie, tell me. I know it.
Yeah, her final outfit, I'm really big on like people's clothing too, like especially like the like time period too. 80s clothes is just great, but like her Las Vegas outfit was just everything. It was sparkle-tastic and so much fun, and I just loved it so much.
so great. Yeah, Mark, he says he's bringing sexy back. Yes, and he wants to see Elvira too. You have to make that happen. That would be so great. Maybe we'll do another episode in the future where we talk more about Elvira, because there was a lot to talk about with her.
Maybe like a Ladies of Horror kind of night.
Ooh, that would be fun. That would be fun. You know, Marvel released a comic book as well for Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, for the movie too, which is so cool. I mean, what other, female horror icon has their own dang comic book?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I think that might be like one of like the first like instances I heard of her, because I've always been one of those little comic book people. But you're right. I do think that's like one of the first instances I've heard of her was her comic.
So good.
I agree. She's, like I said, she's just so girl power strong. But like, I like also forgot that she was still in the town because of. I was like, oh, you're right. That exists. And I think the storyline of it was just really well done as well. Like, because it was just kind of like, it seemed really weird, but like they, like, oh, you just have this random aunt who wants to give you money. But I think they played it out really well, like, because they could have just left it at that, and then you would have been like, well, why would she do that kind of thing? So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I love everything about Elvira. The movie is so great. She's got so many wonderful little one-liners and little, like little quick punches that just, it keeps you hanging. Like you said, the storyline is really good.
I like her little fake knife where she's like,
they made her car for that movie, and I believe that she still keeps the Elvira car. Has anybody met her? I know sometimes she comes around and does conventions. I want to meet her so bad. I've heard she is lovely. I did meet Dee Wallace once. I know she was back in Critters. She was amazing too. But I've always wanted to meet Cassandra Peterson. Sometimes she does the actual Elvira costume and does meet and greets like that. That would be super cool to do too. Meet her that way.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a dream.
Wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Lasai. Oh, well, one day, dreams will come true. We will meet.
We'll meet her together, and we'll make sure to share it with everybody.
Yes, we definitely will share it with you. So I don't know what you think, Lex, about maybe the next movie here on the list. I think it's actually the last movie, guys. I hate to break your hearts, but it is the last movie that we all watched here to talk about. It was, again, a start of another epic 13 official movie franchise, Puppet Master. Ooh. Oh, and are you still there, Lex?
I was a little confused. Oh, am I back? Am I gone?
Yeah, no, you're here now.
Good?
Hi.
Oh, okay. Skype's playing games with me today, but...
Hi, Lex. Hi, everybody. Puppet Master. We know you all have seen Puppet Master, or at least one of the bazillion sequels that come after it. The first one is a little confusing. I will definitely give you that. I think for the future, for your own sanity, you should watch at least another, couple. There's a whole list to watch them to get it in the right order, because there are so many of them and they fill in the gaps.
My main confusion was it started off with the white-haired guy, and I must have missed something from when it transitioned to the new Puppet Master. Because the guy who was dead was he had brown hair, and I was like, that is not the same person as. So I might have just missed something. I'd have to I definitely would rewatch it again. I think personally, I mean, we know how I feel about dolls. Dolls are terrifying. Puppets are terrifying. I know you guys know. There's got to be somebody out there who's with me on that, but...
Terrifying. It made me scared when I was a child, too. I mean, Puppet Master is definitely on the top list of the oh-no's. Hey TJ, hey Todd, what do you guys think of Puppet Master?
I think the one puppet that spits up the leeches was the worst one for me. I couldn't watch that. I had to just like,
You
I was
looked
like, just
away.
follow me when I'm bad about that. Hi TJ. What about you? Did you watch Puppet Masters? Did you have to look away at the leeches? Like,
Oh, I didn't look away at the leeches. It's that whole, weird demonic soul possession thing. And, I do kind of like that paranormal aspect of those movies, too, which is so great. I think it really, hooks you in. The first Puppet Master, it was a little confusing about how things work. It's like you have to fill in the gaps post, when you're done watching it. But those puppets, the one puppet took 5 different puppeteers to move. I think Blade, I think is the name. Can you imagine 5 people on the one doll?
No, especially with how tiny they were. I think of all of the puppets, my favorite one was the one who had like a child's body with like a little pebble head. It was just so creepy looking, but it was also like one of those ones that's kind of like, well, I don't like dolls, but I would keep him probably like in my basement to look at when I'm down there, but like maybe in like a box so that way he can't come alive and come out. But I thought he was kind of cute, which says a lot because we know I'm afraid of dolls.
It does say a lot, honestly. And yeah, Debbie, she says, toys are creepy, and they totally are. And TJ, we are talking about the first Puppet Master here, so you are right on the same page. They were also creepy, but I don't know, I think they actually made a legit toy line later on for some of those dolls.
I'm just going to end up with that one doll because I said I thought it was in a little lockbox.
Right? Keep it all the way down in the basement in the corner. Only look at it before 9 o'clock, though. Don't look at it after 9.
I have to say, like, Ghoulies, I do like that they all had, like, their own personalities and their own, like, character, like, their characteristics. Like, not each puppet had the same, like, moves of death. Like, they each had their own thing, like that drill guy with his... If I saw that thing in real life, that's like up there with Chucky for me. I would have to kick that thing as far as I could, unless its head's facing at me. Obviously, that would be the worst.
When I was a kid, Puppet Master was one of the ones where I had to make sure my blankets were all tucked around underneath me, because if there was any little gap, who would have known if one of those little dolls could just slip up underneath and you'd kill me, cut my leg off. No, thank you.
It sounds like you have a secret fear of dolls and you're just letting me seem like I'm the only one.
Hey man, sometimes you can't let people know your weakness. Some dolls are okay. Hey Jules, I mean, you're a doll and you're wonderful, so I'm okay with that.
For now.
Ooh. Are you guys scared? We might need to be scared. I don't know. What do you think, Lex? Oh, we're going to see the sweet face. It's that sweet face you have to watch out for.
Absolutely.
Never know what's going on there.
I'm the scariest doll of them all.
Right? So I had so much fun watching all of these movies. I'm going to go back and watch a couple of them again, I think. Microwave Massacre. I'm totally watching that again. It was so funny. It was so good.
Would you say that Microwave Massacre is your new favorite?
No, because rewatching Elvira and Killer Clowns, I mean, they're just so good. I can't not love them. I can't not love them. But it definitely might be part of my new list there. It might be in the top 5 of 80s horror B movies.
Wow. That says a lot because there's so many of them.
So many. But yeah, no, seriously, it was so good. Because, the lead guy, he's Frosty the Snowman. So that just really kind of sealed the deal. And the effects were so cheesy. I just thought it really embodied everything that is 80s and everything that is B and everything that is horror. So I have a soft spot.
That's like probably the best part of like these cheesy B movies is their silly effects. Like, with Ghoulies where they're like shooting their lasers and I'm like, they're not even going anywhere.
That was cutting edge.
Or like there's like one where it didn't even look like it was coming out of their eyes. I thought it was great.
So good, right? In Chopping Mall with the robots where they've got the lasers out of the eyes, the darts and everything was so good. Oh yeah, TJ say dolls are creepy too. We know, man. I don't blame your girlfriend either. We are not a complete doll household here either. They're in select locations.
I have none.
Yeah, but you got stuffies. Who knows?
Listen, don't talk about my stuffed animals. They're fine.
I don't know. You can never tell. Obviously, by going through some of these movies, you can never tell what is going to happen.
I'm going to throw all my stuffed animals away now.
Oh, no, well, maybe not all of them. Can you tell when you look at something like that? Can you tell if it's going to be like, you look at it and you're like, nope, or you're like, oh, it'll be okay.
It'll be okay. Did anybody have a favorite of any of these movies that we watched? I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, and while you guys are thinking about maybe a favorite here from the 80s, I want to mention some of the sponsors. I know Lex might want to too. We got Pop Culture Kaboom. I think they were on yesterday. You guys should totally check them out. Super good. Deadly Grounds Coffee, Bloodshed Farms, Cthulhu Books. Am I saying that properly? Because who knows? Maybe not. Bloodshed Farms, Nightmare Paintball. Definitely want to still check that out. We were talking about that a little bit last week.
Yeah, and with Pop Culture Kaboom, that was actually on Sunday, I believe.
Oh, it was on... See, I'm telling you, my days of the week are so messed up. Yes, it was on Sunday. You were right. Sunday, we should do a watch party this week. You guys want to do a watch party with us to watch Pop Culture Kaboom on Sunday? That could be kind of fun.
That would be fun. I really enjoyed it.
And TJ
says... Microwave Massacre was the best.
Yes, the best worst movie. I agree, Corey. Best worst. I didn't see Waxwork, TJ. Maybe because there's so many. I've seen so many of those ones, but it's hard to remember. I'm not sure.
Waxwork sounds like it would be about wax people, and those are another one of those things. I don't know. Madame Tussauds Museum, I look at it and walk away from it.
There either. I agree with you. No way.
Yeah. And Corey, I guess maybe you didn't hear it, but yes, Frosty the Snowman was the voice actor, or the guy who played in Microwave Massacre was the voice actor for Frosty the Snowman, and I will never be able to watch that now.
Never be able to watch it again. It's going to be terrifying. And then you're going to watch Frosty the Snowman inadvertently, right, around Christmas time. It's just going to come on, and then you're going to see him from Microwave Massacre instead of being Frosty the Snowman. Hilarious! I think that is so good.
And then I'm going to come to you, Amanda, and be like, hi, you have ruined Frosty for me now. I'm going to have to turn it off.
I'm sorry.
Might as well just rewatch Microwave Massacre at that point. That'll be our new Christmas movie.
That'll be the new Christmas movie. I love it. Debbie loved Waxworks as well from 1988, TJ says. But my mind is drawing a blank, but it's probably because right now I'm so filled with the ones that we were just talking about. Hey, Dawn, how are you? Glad you could join us tonight.
Absolutely. I'll definitely have to give Waxworks I'll watch for as long as I can.
I really think we could probably do a whole nother episode on other 80s horror B movies. What do you guys think for future episodes? What do you guys want us to talk about? Any good topics we definitely want to know? Always looking for some good ideas. We have a couple up our sleeve, though. I'm definitely excited about our next few streams that we're going to have with you guys. We've got some really good stuff.
Absolutely. So, as always, we will see you next week at the same dead time, at the same dead place. Bye.
Bye. Good night.